Welcome. My name is Giovanni Zecchini, and today I'm going to talk about the effect of plastics on human health and development. So today's agenda, today I will start talking about some of the sources of plastic intoxication. I will then speak a little bit about the chemical composition of plastics by going in details about phthalates and bisphenol A, two contaminants that are actually in most of plastics. I will then talk about some diseases that are related to plastic intoxication. I will talk about the effect of plastics on kids. I will then mention a few symptoms, some of the symptoms related to plastic intoxication. And before giving a brief history of what legislators have done so far to prevent people to get intoxicated by plastic. Towards the end of the presentation, I will say why I believe that BPA-free products are not safe, and I will leave you with a few advice on how to live a plastic-free life. So let's start on where we get contaminated. So plastic is present in basically everywhere in our everyday life. A study revealed that 90% of the people have plastic chemical components in their blood. And if we think about it, so we use plastics in so many ways. So example, water bottles, that's one source of contamination. Also food containers, that's another one. But there's also a lot of products that we don't know that they contain plastic, but they actually do. So for example, canned food. All canned foods contain a thin film of plastics inside, and that leaches BPA and phthalates every time you heat it up. And also water piping system, that's another source of intoxication. And last but not least, thermal paper receipt, a product that we are exposed multiple times per day. But what exactly is plastic? So plastic is a product formed by polymers, organic polymers with high molecular mass, and was first discovered in the 1950s. It's kind of interesting to know that plastic, as a pure state, is actually not toxic. What makes it toxic are all those chemical components that get added to it in order to make plastics more appeal to customers. Chemical components widely used to produce plastics include phthalates. Phthalates are plasticizers that increase plastic's flexibility, transparency, durability, and longevity. These phthalates are formed by reacting phthalic acid and anhydride with alcohols. Another toxic component widely used in plastics production is bisphenol A, also known as BPA. This chemical building block is used primarily to make polycarbonate plastic, lightweight and high-performance plastic. Both of these contaminants are classified as endocrine disruptor or hormonally active agents, and because of their ability to interfere with the endocrine system in the body. In the next slide, we are going to see what that means in terms of health. So endocrine disrupting chemicals, as I mentioned before, they interfere with the endocrine system in the body. And they produce adverse developmental, reproductive, neurological, and immune effects. Some health consequences related to the ingestion and inhalation of these chemicals are reduction in women fecundity, there's an increase in obesity, reduced sperm counts, increased rate of some testicular, ovarian, and breast cancers. There's also seen some increase in aggressiveness in kids, and also some increase in heart rate. While BPA and phthalates each bleach under normal condition, when plastic is exposed to heat and microwave radiation, that's when most of the chemical components get leached and they get then introduced into our body. So a good practice is to avoid exposing plastic to these outside agents. But the one that suffer the most from plastic intoxication are kids, because they're vulnerable, because their systems and organs are still developing, and also because their body are small, and so a small exposure for us is a big dose for them with big effects. And also think about what children do when you give a plastic object to them. They put it in the mouth immediately, and so by putting it in the mouth, they're exposed more than adults. But what can we do to protect kids from getting intoxicated by plastics? Well, the best product, the best material that we know right now is to use glass containers instead of plastic baby bottles, for example. But since plastic has become so common, there are some recycled code that are tied with plastics, and the FDA suggests to use 1, 2, 4, and 5, and they actually suggest to avoid 3, 6, and 7. And number 3, those are the plastic products known as polyvinyl chloride, and they often contain lead and phthalates. And number 6, they're actually polystyrene, commonly known as styrofoam, and a toxic styrene can leach from products like coffee cups or carry-out containers. And number 7, this is a little bit more iffy, because there's some products that are extremely dangerous and they have high content of BPA. But there are also new type of products that are being tested, and so it would be more helpful to actually ask somebody, some specialist on number 7, because it can vary from case to case. But what are the symptoms? How can we know that somebody got intoxicated by plastic? So there are several symptoms that include fatigue, poor concentration, headaches, tremors, rapid heart rate, convulsions, stomach irritation. And to find out if these symptoms are caused by plastic intoxication, it's enough to go to a doctor and ask for a urine test. And from the results of the test, the doctor should be able to tailor a detoxification protocol that will suit your specific issues. Let's do a brief history about legislation. So plastic is toxic, right? Many studies have been proved that. But why so legislators have allowed plastic manufacturers to intoxicate people for so long? Well, the reason is like the reason for many other problems. Money. Money can make people acting like the 3 monkeys in the slide, right? They don't hear, they don't see, and they don't speak. So for years, researchers paid by the plastic industry tested animals only in their adult stage and only with high dosages. What they found was they've always found that BPA wasn't toxic, but recent independent studies reduced the dosage, also test animals that they were younger, even in their field state, and they actually found out the opposite. So, but recently, state finally approved that BPA products, BPA plastic is not good for us, and in orange you see all the states that actually have passed some sort of law that ban or partially ban BPA use in plastic products for kids. As I mentioned before, I was going to prove that BPA-free plastic products are still toxic. And why I say that? Well, the main substitute for BPA is actually bisphenol S, also known as BPS. Many recent studies have found similarities between the two, and they also suggest to do some more tests on it, because we don't know. We actually don't know exactly what BPS can cause to our health. So I will go very careful when you see like stickers like this that, you know, they say BPA free, get on it, just drink it straight out of the bottle, because we actually don't know. We actually don't know if BPA free is also non-toxic. So this is actually false. But let me leave you with a few advice on how to get plastic out of your life. So carry reusable shopping bags when you go to do grocery, give up bottled water, buy from bulk bins as often as possible, shop at your local farmers, you will get rid also of some pesticides, carry your own containers, travel mine, and avoid single serving sizes, and then compost food waste to avoid plastic garbage bags. This will actually give you a good source of natural fertilizer. Thank you.